What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am super hyped to let y'all know on something new we've picked up for the channel. I've actually had it for a little while. There's a super crazy story on it, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. But I purchased a new airboat. It's technically my second airboat I've gotten, and this thing is a lot more than what I used to have. I used to have a 4.3 direct drive V6 fiberglass hull style airboat. It was the year of the hull was super heavy and stuff, and it just didn't do everything that all of my buddies that I hang out with. If you look at some of my YouTube shorts, they all have super badass big block car motorboats, nitrous, and this, that, and the other. And then there was me, who we had to push through everywhere we had to go. So I made a purchase, and we're gonna call this one my first actual airboat. I'm not exactly the cleanest human being right now because I've been messing with the side-by-side and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm super excited to show this to y'all today. It's a lot older boat, but it's kind of got that 90s feel that I'm really enjoying currently. So it's pretty badass, and we've done some stuff to it since I got it, just trying to kind of update it and bring it into the new world. And this thing's got a new motor on it, and it runs really good for being as heavy as it is and everything. I've actually already got it into some races, and in my caliber of racing, in my class, so to speak, this boat holds its own. It's really badass, and it was a lot more horsepower than it is now. I mean, a lot more than it was now. But unfortunately, part of that story of getting this boat and doing everything. So I'll show y'all what it is, and here we go. So here it is. It is I'm unsure of the year exactly. I want to say it's like early 2000s. Diamondback hull airboat. It's all aluminum. It does have polymer on the bottom of it, which I explained in my dad's airboating video, which is my previous video before this one. The horrible polymer. It has its purpose, but not for what I want to do and the style of running we do. Slick bottom's the way to go. So it will be getting a slick bottom. That's next. So yeah, it's got a 5.3 LS on it. It's built out to 600 horsepower, give or take. When the numbers I got, it was 605 to the crank, and that's what we judge off of when we gauge our horsepower rating on an airboat, when we dyno a motor and everything. We don't go off of to the wheel or anything like that, because obviously on an airboat, you're just basically bolting a gearbox to the back of the crank on the motor. So yeah, it's a 5.3 LS. Built out, aluminum heads, cam, etc., etc. Got a gearbox on it, a rotator gearbox, which we can basically just ignore that because that's not really part of it. 4-blade R series. I want to say it's an 84-inch Cinchnik prop. Traditional fuel in it, just regular pump gas. 2 batteries, a 4 6.5 kicker sound system in it, a ramline trailer. Other than that, it's nothing super special. It works. This boat gets down for being as heavy as it is. It really does. Haven't had it stuck yet. So there is a lot of water in the marsh right now where we run over in Kissimmee, so no real reason for it to get stuck yet, but I haven't had any issues. This motor actually, we've been running it and making sure. I was really in love with it before I made a video about it, but I'm pretty certain this is the one, obviously now. I mean, we've been running it for probably about a month or two, and I'm for sure this is a boat for me now, just building it out to the way I want it. The previous owner of this actually raced in NASCAR. His name is Patrick Sheltra. I bought it from him, and it had one of their race car motors in it. I'm not going to say it was a NASCAR car because I've done some research on it now, and they didn't have that series of motor in that car, but it was in a race car of some form, whether it was in dirt track or late model or whatever it was. I'm not sure. I'm not into that world yet, but as far as it goes right now, it does have the LS on it because this is the story of why I haven't made a video on this boat yet, and you've seen it in some shorts and stuff, and you haven't heard about it. So, story behind it was, we got this thing probably 6-7 months ago, maybe a little before that. Can't remember exactly when, but got this boat, and it had a 415 or something, fully aluminum Dart small block on it that was what we told was building the high 9s in horsepower. And we got it, it had a set of headers on it that were all rusty and weren't working good. They were Airboat headers, and they were old over time. This thing hadn't been ran, he said, other than like a couple times in a couple years, just because it was his dad's boat. His dad ended up passing away, and he just got kind of tired of looking at it. So we ended up reaching out to him. I ended up picking up this thing, and within our first trip out, I took it to the exhaust shop over in Auburndale. That guy does all my exhaust work, tailpipes, in Auburndale off 92. Talking to him about the headers and everything, he was like, man, they're super thin, they're really rusty, but they'll make you through the first couple trips just to make sure they're okay. So we checked over everything in the motor. It looked good without really tearing it apart. This is where we got into some things. Just looking at the rockers were all intact, everything looked good, changed oil in it before I ran it, everything, no metal shavings, no nothing, everything looked fine. So I was like, we're good. And from him, he told me, man, it was running good. The only thing I'd do is probably have I don't remember what he said, have something done to it. And I was like, okay. So, we'll take it out, run it for his first trip, and see if I really fall in love with it. Now, when I was getting this boat, he told me it would go fast enough where I would not be able to run it. I wouldn't be able to hold into it and stay in there, because him racing NASCAR, he said, I let out of it and I race 200-mile-an-hour race cars. So I was like, okay. So that's kind of what I'm wanting. I'm not wanting to use my full gas pedal if I don't have to. So we get out to the lake and run past the ridge in Kissimmee. We go to a spot called the Milk Bus, and I pull up there and I look in the bottom of my boat. Actually, my girlfriend looked in the bottom of the boat, and she said, honey, what's that middle pipe sitting in the bottom of the boat? It was one of the, I think it was the third header back on that side. Ended up breaking off at the flange and just fell in the bottom of the boat. And I was like, okay, great. So I won't be running this. And then I pulled up there, no problem. Then started when to go to leave. And after we attempted to JB weld it back on that header pipe in place and just try to hold it there so I didn't burn a valve out of it. Well, sorry, quick cut, had to feed the dog. But yeah, so I didn't burn a valve out of it, and for sure, if I didn't, it would surprise me, but I know there was a camshaft lobe chewed off in it and stuff like that. That's why we went with the motor we went with, and just because that motor was so specifically built with parts that when I called the guy that originally built that motor 2 decades ago, so he was like, dude, if that company's even open anymore, there's no telling what the prices for that parts are going to cost you. You can just scrap the motor and do an LS, and you'd be way better off. And he was like, and you can build an LS to that horsepower for way cheaper than you can build that thing. So we're waiting on a quote from the machine shop for it. Once we get that, we'll be back to it. But yeah, that's basically the premise of why you haven't seen a video on this boat yet. Just because we wanted to make sure we were thoroughly happy with it through and through, and I absolutely am. No doubt in my mind, this was definitely the boat for me. Definitely going to kill some ducks out of this boat this year for sure. And I know you're looking at it and you're like, hey, why are you polishing this boat and trying to clean it up when you're trying to conceal it? I have an idea for that I will make in a later video for duck season, but to just cover the whole boat. No, I'm not rattle canning it camo, but so far it's, because the rest of the year we're riding airboats, we're racing airboats, we're going to airboat races, airboat shows, airboat rides. So I don't want some hideous airboat, and obviously I don't have that as it sits. And for more to come, it's going to get some sea deck and some stuff like that. So yeah, looking forward to getting all that done, but that's kind of the overview of her. I don't think I missed anything. I'm going to kind of go over a little more of a detailed overview here in a second and just show you everything little piece by piece of what was there, what we did. But yeah, I'm thrilled with it. I really am. So this is it. Diamondback Airboat. This is mine. And yeah, it's a pretty bad dude. I'm happy with it. So let's get into it. This is it. We'll start with the front of the boat. Start with the front of the boat and work our way to the goodies in the back. But with the front, standard Diamondback grass rake that does have lights underneath the grass rake. Depending on how you want to angle them, all I gotta do is take those covers off, and I can angle them any way I want to. And they could be bow fishing lights, or they could just be running lights that I can see the trees or whatever if I'm running the marsh in the distance. But yeah, little nav lights they have built into the grass rake. Step on the grass rake, so if you want to lean over, shoot your bow, shoot some fish, etc., etc. Hatch, it's got some stuff in it now, but nothing super crazy other than stuff I have to have. Yeah, so next we'll go standard Diamondback rudder stick. Does have the Diamondback's new billet handle. I just did end up putting that on. Let me pop these seat covers off for y'all. Give you all a little overview of what these look like. These are the Diamondback seat covers that were on it. They're pretty dope. They look good. The fronts and rears look identical. Same with the middles maroon, sides are silver, top silver, back silver, all that. So yeah, that's kind of the way that is. Don't know what company makes that pedal. That's some pedal that came on it. That the one thing that I do hate about this boat, and Mason Krug from Oxbox put me on it, and I can't unsee it now, is if you're sitting in this seat up here, this pedal is crooked. It sits like this. Now when you sit in it, it somewhat makes sense, but I'd like it to be straight. So that's that. Has a Pioneer head unit, kicker 6.5. Hatch here, basically where the ECM and all that is in it, or ECU and all that good fun shit. But yeah, this kind of the motor there. She's kind of an atrocity right now, but she's coming together. Did some company's billet coil relocation kit on that. It actually turned out better than I thought. However, now we're gonna go back with the top mount valve cover ones, because I've made these headers and divoted them and then got them coated to where I could flip them back down normal. So yeah, Perco, nothing new there. 2 batteries I got from a local Battery USA dealer. They put the boxes and everything in for me. I like how that turned out. I'm actually gonna get gold battery mounts, billet battery mounts to go over that to match the Cowboy Cadillac on the rudders and the gold on the motor and all that. So no, I'm not a Florida State Seminole fan, and I hate that everybody says that, but that's one thing. This boat at night is an absolute UFO. Light strips underneath everywhere on this thing. Light strips under the grass rake. It does all light up red at night. It's pretty sick. Ram line, they're built out of Orlando, Florida trailer. Those wheels need an update. I can't stand those, but Ram line, custom trailers in Orlando, built the trailer. Super happy with that. That thing actually pulls really good. It's got the Diamondback in it and all that. So pretty happy with that, how that turned out, that's for sure. Yeah, what else am I missing? Oh yeah, the back half, what makes this thing go. So here, 4-blade Centric hub, nothing special there. You can order those all day of the week. Actually, they have a new style that I'd like to update that one too, because it has a little key lock right here in the middle. Super dope. You can lock it, and those, I believe, I've seen it done before, where you can pull the whole prop off the way it sits and get to your gearbox. It's badass. I need that. And your prop will stay just like this. Everything's pitched the same way it is. You can pull it off, do whatever maintenance you need on the gearbox or whatever. If you need to get to your radiator better, whatever it need to be, you can pull that thing off and the whole prop will stay as it is. You just got to finagle it out however you choose, if you pull the cage off or whatever. So yeah, Linco trim tab, ignore that. I've knocked that off at the Camp Mac boat ramp in Lake Wales. But this trailer does have rollers on it, which I appreciate if we were going to show it off in the cow pasture, which we might. Pretty sure these are just Diamondback rudders. They just got the new Hollywood graphics, and Bartow did all the vinyl for me. They did the gold foil graphic with the maroon and the black outline. But yeah, these things are all carbon fiber. They work pretty good. Speed engineering headers, yes, they're on upside down. I know, I said that's why the coils are where they are and all that. So yeah, KC up there, I don't know if you can see it or not, KC highlighter or whatever, however their company said. They have their Cyclone rock lights. I threw one of those up there because this thing does have that light on it up there. Doesn't work. I don't have a ladder. I mean, I could have backed my truck up to it and done all of it, but that thing looks sick because at night it like lights the prop up when it's pretty sick. Turned out good. Unknown of what the radiator is. That was the original motor that was on like the 420 small block or whatever, and it worked out good. Some of my buddies have problems with their LS radiators. I haven't had a problem out of that one. Don't know what it is, unfortunately. I tried to find a serial number for them, couldn't find one, so rip. But yeah, so that's all the rudders and stuff. Nothing special. I'm actually getting this upcoming week, I'm getting all this gone, redoing the rudders, and guy's gonna clear coat, or not clear coat them, but paint correct them and do all that afterwards. But yeah, so that's that. Those headers, like I said, standard traditional LS fuel injection. LS, or I forget what company this is, makes this fuel pump. All-Star Performance Fuel Filter, fuel breather, K&N. Same company makes the fuel pump, makes the fuel regulator, and so far I'm really happy with that. It's got its quirks though. It's a little loud for being mounted with the foam around it and stuff, and mounted with these rubber things where it wouldn't. It's still a little loud, but who cares? It kind of sounds dope when you're about to fire it up because it sounds like you got a really big fuel pump in this thing. That's here nor there. But yeah, let me get y'all all set up, and I'll give you a fire up on this thing. Let y'all know how it sounds. Sounds pretty radical. And if you go look at some of my YouTube shorts and stuff, you can see how it runs. It runs really good. So yeah, let me give y'all a fire up on this thing. See how y'all like her. She runs pretty nice. All right, here we go. Light, we'll start. Got to turn the battery on. Ground is a little loose on our fuel pump there. I just now noticed that. That might have come from riding it the other day. But as you can hear, when I put my foot on it, it's really loud. It's pretty loud. But let me give you all a start out. What are we building at? There she is. She runs like a kitten. But yeah, so that was a good start up. She runs pretty good. No complaints there. But yeah, this is the new channel boat. Hopefully I can get clear prop or something on the inside of those rudders at some point. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. That's kind of an overview of old girl. Hopefully you'll see her in some upcoming videos. But if you guys get the chance and you support my channel, drop a like, comment, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. There's some content coming you don't want to miss out on. Hit it. You're here. Just hit it. Peace out, you.